Picture this. Sarah, 65, sits at her kitchen table, holding a stack of brochures from retirement homes. Across from her, her 85-year-old mother quietly sips tea, both avoiding the conversation they know they need to have. This scene plays out in millions of American homes every day. We all face this turning point, whether we're caring for aging parents or planning our own golden years. It's not just about finding a place to live, it's about preserving dignity, maintaining connections, and making choices that honor both our loved ones and ourselves. I'm Dr. Grace Anderson, and as both a geriatric care specialist and daughter who's been through this journey, today we're having that conversation together. Before we dive in, I'd love to hear your story. Share your experience in the comments below. What challenges are you facing? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join our supportive community of families navigating this journey together. Let's start by understanding why this decision matters more than you might think. When my mother turned 80, everything changed. Despite my years as a geriatric specialist helping countless families, nothing prepared me for that Sunday afternoon. There I sat, across from Mom, watching her hands tremble slightly as she stirred her coffee. In that moment, all my professional knowledge faded away. I wasn't Dr. Anderson anymore. I was just a daughter, facing one of life's most profound transitions. This journey we're on together, it's about so much more than finding the right living arrangement. It's about honoring a lifetime of independence. It's about preserving those precious memories that make our families unique. And yes, it's about making choices that respect both our parents' dignity and our own peace of mind. You know, every family's story is different. Yet somehow, we all share these common threads: love, concern, and sometimes those complicated feelings of guilt we don't always want to talk about. I see it in my practice every day, and I've lived it personally. Let me share something interesting with you. Studies show that more than 3/4 of Americans over 50 want to age in their own homes. But here's the reality we all face. Nearly 70% of us lie awake at night, worried about our parents living alone. These aren't just numbers on a page. They represent families like yours and mine, making decisions that touch multiple generations. I want you to know something important. There's no perfect solution that works for everyone. What worked beautifully for your neighbor's family might not be right for yours, and that's perfectly okay. What truly matters is finding a path that honors both your loved one's needs and your family's ability to provide support. Take a moment with me now. Think about your own situation. What emotions come up for you? What worries keep you awake at night? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Share what's on your mind. We're all here to support each other through this journey. Before we move on to explore your practical options, remember this: you're not alone on this path. Every day, families just like yours are facing these same decisions. And together, we're going to find a way forward that feels right for your unique situation. Now, let's talk about those practical steps you can take to make this decision with both confidence and compassion. You know, one of my patients, Robert, recently told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "Dr. Anderson, I spent 40 years making big decisions for my company, but deciding where Mom should live, that's the hardest choice I've ever faced." I bet many of you can relate to that feeling. Let's break this down together into manageable pieces. Think of it like building a house. We need a strong foundation before we can decide on the details. And just like a house, every family's solution will look a little different. First, let's look at the most common living arrangements I've seen work well for families. Aging in place. This means staying at home with support. Picture your loved one in their familiar environment, but with added safety features and perhaps some help coming in. Many of my patients have found great success with this option by making small, strategic changes to their homes. Simple modifications like bathroom grab bars or better lighting can make a world of difference. Multi-generational living. This is when families come together under one roof. One of my patients, Maria, converted her ground floor den into a beautiful suite for her mother. They maintain privacy while staying connected. It's not always easy, but for many families, it's deeply rewarding. Senior communities, these have come such a long way. Modern senior communities can offer independence with a safety net. Think of it as a neighborhood designed specifically for active seniors, with help available when needed. But here's what's really important, and I learned this from both my patients and my own mother. The best choice isn't always the most obvious one. Sometimes it's about creating a unique blend of these options. Let me share something personal. When my mother first needed more support, we tried aging in place. But after a fall, we realized we needed to adjust our plan. That's another crucial point. Your decision today doesn't have to be your forever decision. You can adapt as circumstances change. Now I want you to take a moment and consider, which of these options resonates most with your situation? What concerns come up when you think about each one? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help another family facing similar choices. Remember, this isn't just about finding a place to live. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports both independence and safety. In my next segment, we'll talk about how to evaluate these options specifically for your situation, including costs, healthcare needs, and family dynamics. But before we move on, let me leave you with this thought. The perfect solution isn't about finding what works for everyone. It's about finding what works for your family, your circumstances, and your loved ones. Now let's talk about how to have those important family conversations about these options. Let me share something personal with you. Late one night, I was sitting in my kitchen, surrounded by paperwork. You know, the usual spreadsheets and brochures we all deal with. That's when my mother looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Grace, I'm not afraid of getting older. I'm afraid of being forgotten." That simple statement changed everything about how I approach family care, both as a doctor and as a daughter. No matter which living arrangement you choose, what really matters is keeping those family bonds strong. Whether your loved one lives with you independently or in a senior community, it's the quality of connection that makes all the difference. I've seen so many beautiful ways families stay connected. Take Tom, for example. He's 82 and has become quite the tech expert. Every Wednesday evening, he has dinner with his grandchildren through video chat. They prop up their tablets at the dinner table, and suddenly, miles of distance just disappear. It's not about the technology, it's about creating those precious moments together. Then there's Martha and her family's Heritage Hour. Every Sunday afternoon, they gather, sometimes in person, sometimes virtually, to share family stories, look through old photos, or just talk about their week. These simple, consistent routines become the anchors that hold families together. You know what I've noticed in my years of practice? Everyone needs to feel needed. When my mother moved closer to us, we made sure she knew how important her role still was. She became our family's keeper of traditions, our go-to person for those treasured family recipes. It wasn't just about us caring for her. It was about her continuing to care for us in her own special way. Now, let's be honest for a moment. Not every day will be perfect. There will be challenges, frustrations, and yes, some tough moments. That's completely normal. What matters is how we handle these times. Sometimes you'll need a break, and that's okay. Keep those lines of communication open. Remember, tomorrow is always a new day to try again. Let's talk about the practical side for a moment. I know many of you are concerned about finances, insurance, and legal matters. These are important considerations, and we'll explore them together. But here's something I've learned both as a doctor and through my own family experience. Sometimes the best solutions aren't about money at all. They're about finding creative ways to meet both practical and emotional needs. In my own family, we discovered that mixing family support with some professional services worked better than full-time care, both for our budget and for everyone's happiness. Sometimes thinking outside the box leads us to the perfect solution. Before we move on, I want you to remember something important. Whatever arrangement you choose, it needs to work for everyone involved. It's about finding that balance between providing care and maintaining connections, between meeting practical needs and nurturing emotional well-being. I'd love to hear about your family's experiences. What special traditions help keep your family connected? Share your stories in the comments below. Your ideas might be exactly what another family needs to hear. Now, let's talk about how to bring all these pieces together into a plan that will work for your family. You know what question I hear most often in my family meetings? There's always that moment when someone looks up and asks, "But Dr. Anderson, how do we actually make this work?" Today I want to help you answer that question. Think of what we're discussing as creating a family roadmap, not a strict schedule set in stone, but more like a flexible guide that grows with you. After working with hundreds of families, I've seen what makes the difference between plans that last and those that don't. Let me share a secret I learned with my own mother. Start small. When we began our journey, we didn't overhaul everything at once. We started with just one change: Sunday afternoon check-ins. For your family, that first step might be different, and that's perfectly fine. The key is beginning with something that feels natural and manageable. I remember David, one of my favorite patients. He was so worried about staying connected with his mother who lived 2 states away. Do you know what worked for them? They started having morning coffee together over video chat. Every day at 9 o'clock they share their morning coffee and conversation. Such a simple thing, but it made such a difference. Now let's talk about building your support network. This isn't just about medical alert systems or healthcare providers. Think broader. Your neighbors, local friends, church groups, community centers, they can all be part of your extended family of support. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. I know the financial part can feel overwhelming. Here's how we can make it simpler. Take it one piece at a time. Maybe this week you look at insurance options. Next week, you might set up automatic bill payments. Small steps add up to big progress. Here's something vital I've learned both as a doctor and a daughter. The best plans are flexible plans. Life changes, needs evolve, and that's okay. What matters is creating a framework that can adapt with you. Let me tell you about Janet and her mother. They've found such a beautiful rhythm. They started small with video calls, and now they share virtual family dinners, watch movies together online, and even do gentle exercise classes together through video chat. It's amazing how technology can help us stay connected in meaningful ways. Before we wrap up, I need to talk about something really important: taking care of yourself. As a caregiver, it's easy to forget about your own needs. But remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Making time for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary for everyone's well-being. I'd love to hear from you. What small step could you take this week to start building your family's plan? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your idea might be exactly what another family needs to hear. Now, let's talk about how to keep this momentum going and make your family's plan thrive for years to come. You know, as we're wrapping up today's conversation, I'm reminded of something beautiful I witnessed last week. One of my longtime patients, Helen, came in for her regular visit. She was beaming as she showed me photos from her granddaughter's wedding. What touched me most wasn't just the photos, it was how her family had arranged everything so she could play a special role in the celebration, despite her mobility challenges. That's what all of this is about, keeping our loved ones as active participants in our family stories, not just observers. And today, we've covered a lot of ground to help you do just that. Let's take a moment to bring everything together. Think of this as your starter kit for the journey ahead. First, remember, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. What we've discussed are tools and options you can adapt for your unique situation. Maybe you connected with the idea of aging in place, or perhaps a senior community feels right for your family. Whatever resonates with you, that's your starting point. Second, start with one small step this week. It could be as simple as scheduling a family meeting or making that first call to explore resources in your community. Remember David and his morning coffee calls? That started with just one conversation. Here's what I suggest as immediate next steps. Have an open, loving conversation with your family. Make a list of current needs and concerns. Explore the resources we discussed. Reach out to one support service this week. Schedule regular family check-ins. Before you close this video, I want you to know something important. This journey you're on, it's a testament to love. Whether you're caring for parents or planning ahead for yourself, you're doing something profound and meaningful. I'd love to continue this conversation with you. Subscribe to our channel for weekly guidance on senior care and family relationships. Next week, we'll be diving deeper into practical tips for making each living arrangement work smoothly. Remember, you're not alone on this path. Our community is here to support you. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below, and let's keep this important conversation going. Until next time, this is Dr. Grace Anderson, reminding you that every family's journey is unique and every step you take matters. Take care, and I'll see you in our next video.